Okay, still off the shelf. Huzzah. Grand Tactical Battles of the American Civil War. 4 Battles of the American Civil War, Volume 1. What is Grand Tactical Battles of the American Civil War? This is what's going on behind the scenes. I have tried to go through the rules very systematically, and that just doesn't seem to be working. In other words, so far anyways, this is the type of design where when I'm looking at it very systematically, step by step, kind of abstractly, it isn't really working. I'm not really seeing kind of the big picture at all. So I have a couple more ideas. So I'm going to start with another idea. The other idea. So the other idea is that there is online, you can find a Huzzah example of play printout document. Now, the examples of play document I'm talking about is not based on this game, but what I'm going to do, what I'm going to try, is I'm going to try to set up examples that I think are similar to the ones in this examples of play document, and I'm going to try to go through those step by step to at least try to get some idea of the bigger picture of how this all comes together. Okay, so I've set up something that looks fairly similar to the example. Again, the examples of play document. I tried to get the array of different formations similar enough, the relative positioning, tried to get the terrain being occupied as close as possible, and especially I tried to get the unit strengths as close as I could. Okay, so it says situation. It is the first USA action segment, which, by the way, I was going to say this is exactly kind of what I'm talking about why I guess it's not working for me to take the game in tiny little pieces, because the first USA action segment is segment G. Segment G of like a 25 segment turn sequence. I really hope I didn't mess my phone up in this recording. I just looked at the screen and something looks different. Oh well. So yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, first USA action segment. The rebels have, so these are my rebels here, and these are the Union, obviously. The rebels have deployed a thin gray line, hoping to contain a surge from the USA's such and such corps, such and such brigade, which has managed to entrench. See, my game didn't come with any entrenchments. I see it in the example here, but I didn't get any, which is obviously, they wouldn't necessarily come in all games, right? But I never saw any of these breastworks or entrenchment or fieldworks or anything. I didn't see them. Maybe I missed them. That is entirely possible, but oh well. So I won't, well no, I know what I'll do. I'm not going to use any ersatz markers, but I am going to say, just because it will help for my example, these two units are in breastworks. So in the example I have, they would have a breastworks marker put on them. But again, I don't see any in my game. In this game, Huzzah, Volume 1. Okay. This gives them defensive advantages as well as extending their MFZ from the minimum fire zone from 1 to 2 hexes. Okay. So these guys have an MFZ of 2 hexes. Okay. Which is an interesting concept. Again, I want to see that in practice. Such and such brigade. So that would be, this unit over here. Yeah, this unit over here. So this unit is in breastworks. This unit over here is not as fortunate and finds itself flanked by this unit from this brigade. This unit Same brigade. This unit has managed to close as well. So we have a 2-6 in my example. I have a 2-6 flanking the 1st Texas here, and I have this 1-6 that's obviously adjacent or engaged with the 1st Texas. Okay, the 2 units of the this one. So the 2 units of this brigade, so the 26th Illinois, is that right? Okay. Has declared a charge. So let's put a Union charge marker on them. So put a charge marker on them like that. Again, so they've declared a charge against the this unit right here. So these 2 units are charging this one. Superficially, the odds look overwhelming. What are the odds? Right, yeah. No, it is 4-1. What they mean in the example is the 2 firepower and the 2... do they actually call it firepower? Base fire factor. Use the actual terms. So 2 base fire factor plus 2 base fire factor to 1 base fire factor is a rough 4-1. The wait, is this a typo? Oh, I'm sorry. This doesn't, it jumped. This brigade. Are these brigades? Are these brigades? No, I thought they were regiments. All right, in the example, again, the example I'm reading says brigades. These are all regiments. So, yeah, I thought these were regiments. So the 11th, so I'm going to switch over. So the 11th Missouri Regiment has just entered the play area here to add some spice to the brew, quote unquote. Stragglers, the 3rd. Keep wanting to say that. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so this regiment, I don't know, but so the example, again, the example you can get online is from Darkwood's Dreadful Fields, which, by the way, sounds fascinating because it looks like it's the wilderness, I believe. And that sounds, sounds fascinating. I don't think it's out yet, but I will, sounds interesting. So I guess in that game, these types of formations are brigades. Here are the regiments. All right, so this regiment moves to, okay, let's move them. They move here. Okay, so it says, so they're moving from, I don't know that it matters, but they're moving from a Woods hex to a Woods hex. By the way, I believe that's correct. I'm not going to double check that. The graphics look different, I'm assuming. All right, maybe I will. No, I can't, no. Yeah, they're all woods, even though they look quite different. I believe they're all woods, even though you see all these different patterns. Okay, so it checks for stragglers using the average base morale, which is 5 and 5 morale there. It's do we have stragglers in our game? Stragglers. Movement. Stragglers, there it is. Let's see what ours says. Stragglers. Okay, so we might as well go over this. This is actually a good idea. Stragglers, a stack. So we have a moving stack here. Exiting a non-clear hex. They exited a non-clear hex. They exited a wood hex into another non-clear. So that's what makes this a stragglers check. We're going from non-clear to non-clear. The check occurs before the stack moves. Roll a d10 for the stack. So we have Union. All right. Let's say the roll was a 6 to correspond to my example of play here. So, all right. So on the straggler table. Okay. So there is a straggler table. Where is it? There it is. Straggle table. Average base morale, size, straggler die roll 5+. So in our example, we rolled a 6. So that means, oh, okay. All right. So we can use our example here. Its straggle roll is 6, which inflicts a straggler hit. Oh, that's interesting. They say it's a straggler hit, but it's really just an O hit. So what do I do? It may remain in place, or take the hit and enter a hex. That's interesting. I'm not even going to say anything about why would you have the opportunity to choose that? There are several things I'm running across that I find quite curious. Move across the narrow stage. Search what they're saying. But does that? The example says. Okay, well, actually, 3.6.7. A stack may defer the loss if it remains in place and terminates its move. Okay, so what are they saying? The straggler started and the commander decided to stop and collect all the stragglers and winds up not leaving the hex. Yeah, I'll just tell you that that explanation, which of course I made up. I don't know that that's the real explanation, but that doesn't sit well with me. But move on. It pushes on and accepts the stragglers. So what do I do? It goes under, right? So I guess there's one under each, right? It keeps saying it, which I guess is the stack, but I don't even know that. Because I don't know, it could just as easily be the stack takes one hit and you decide which one gets it, for example. I don't even know that. Alright. I will, what does it actually say? I don't know. I'm trying to get clues here, right? It cannot suffer more than one O hit per check. See, that's what doesn't look right, because it, being the stack, took 2 hits. So now I'm going to go with, no, it is 1 hit for it, the stack. I'll go on and see if I get more clues. It pushes on, accepting the straggler. Yeah, it still says the straggler. It still could be the straggler per unit. Note that by moving as a stack, it makes only one. Oh, okay, maybe it only makes 1 check. 3.6.8. 3.6. These are rules references, by the way. It behooves player to concentrate his units when moving through non-clear terrain. I find this interesting because this was added in the revised version of the rules I have. A stack can suffer 1 hit maximum for each hex entered. Moving a regiment's units individually exposes them to additional loss, since each stack must make a separate straggler check. Okay, it's still not, I still don't believe it's spelled out, but it's certainly very, very strongly suggested that it is 1 hit for the stack. So I guess you choose the unit. Well, I don't want to give it to the, why would I give it to the weakest unit? I guess I'll give it to the stronger unit, maybe. If each unit had moved individually, then each would have checked for straggler, increasing the likelihood of straggling. The unit now moves to is now the stack. Why does it say unit? The stack now moves to, we'll say, this hex. Since this is a clear hex, there's no straggle roll. If this hex had been a woods hex, however, it would have had to make a second straggle check, possibly suffering a second O hit, expending only 2 of its 3 movement points. Right. Now remember this. In this USA action segment, all units, I believe all units have 3 movement points. Not on the counters at all. I wonder if it's even... I don't even see it. Nope, it's not even on this player chart that I see. So you... No? Alright, well, it's in the rules. Under the sequence of play. Actually, that's the only place I've seen it so far. All units, regardless of command status, have 3 movement points per action segment. Alright. Okay. Okay, expending only 2 of its 3 movement points, the stack could move an additional hex for the purposes of... Okay, it'll stay there. Alright, some preliminaries. That actually helped me there. The... which one am I looking at? I think it's... oh yeah, it's this one. Alright, so now we're looking at... Alright, now we're looking at this unit right here. Sitting on the flank of the 1st Texas here. Okay, he's facing this way, which means that the Confederates are not to his front. He needs to pivot first in order to truly menace the rebels. The unit pivots 60 degrees to face 1st Texas. Changing facing like this is technically movement, and since a unit can only do 1 action in a segment, it won't be able to fire or assault this segment. 3.5.4. 3.5.4. A stack may freely change facing during movement. However, a stack that may suffer advanced fire may only change facing after the resolution of that fire. Okay. It will have to bide its time till the next one comes along, segment M of the same turn. That should be... I'm trying to look across the map. That's the 2nd USA action segment. Okay. So now we're going to look at this unit right here, the 1/6 47th Illinois Regiment. Okay, it's going to fire at 1st Texas, adjacent. It is a low odd shot. His fire factor is 1. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2. His fire factor is 2 because it's his base 1 times 2 for 1 hex range. Modify the fire line by -1 since the 1st Texas is in woods hexes. So the final fire line is 1. Is that... Am I following all of that? I think yeah, okay. The Yankee side rolls a... Alright, let's say that they roll a 3. Like that, which is a no effect. Is that a no effect? That is a... Yeah, that's a no effect. Alright, so now the... which one am I looking at? I'm looking at this one. Now I'm looking at the 3-4 underneath here in this stack here of the 80th Ohio. The 3-4 faces a choice to advance into what? No, I'm sorry. It's not the unit. This is the unit. Oh, this is also a 3-4, the 80th Ohio. Okay. Huh. That could have gone either way. Let's see. It could advance into this hex, allowing the 1st Texas to advance fire at it. Okay, which is it's opportunity fire. So if the 80th Ohio moved here, 1st Texas would get advancing fire, which sure looks like opportunity fire, or response fire, whatever you want to call it. All right, or remain in place and take a pot shot at the rebels. Kenny, that's 2 hex range. Yes, he Yes, he can. And it would be the straight 3 firepower. Alright, so a swift calculation of the advanced fire follows. The rebels could fire 3 of its 4 strength points from the woods hex. Why is that? 6.1.5. It is nice that this example of play has what are so far accurate rules references. 6.1.5. What was that? Actually, now I do remember this game does have nice rules limiting the amount of firepower that can come from a single hex. 6.1.5. 3 strength points may fire out of a non-clear hex, both small arms and artillery. Okay, so that's why they're saying. So they're saying even though there's 4. So if the 80th moved here, the first hex is here. They have 4 base fire, but only 3 could fire out of the hex. 3 strength points times 2 for a 1 hex range, yes. Resolves on the 5 to 7 fire line. The fire line would be modified by +2. 1 for advanced fire, and 1 for clear terrain. Yeah, because the 80th would be in clear terrain. For a final fire line of 12, this is none too appealing to the Yankee. He plays cautiously and chooses to fire instead of advancing. Firing on the 2 fire line. Why is it 2? Why is it 2? Oh, -1 for the for the terrain, for the wood terrain. Okay, so it is 3. It says 3. 3 base fire times 1 for 2 hex range is 3. -1 for the rebels being in the woods. Okay. So then the Union would roll, and then they get a, let's just say they rolled a 1. They roll a 1, which is a disruption. So, okay, so let's grab, it's funny, these to me are not intuitive, but I guess it's that. Okay, so disruption. First Texas elects to try to take an O hit in lieu of this disruption. So it checks morale. So it checks morale, so it rolls, and oh yeah, so it rolls a 5, which is the same as our example. He is successful in taking the O hit. Okay, so he rolled against his morale, but why is it? Oh, maybe it's average morale. Okay. Okay, so instead of being disrupted, and by the way, is it 1-0 hit? Wow. If it's 1-0 hit, wow. All right, so it is. So when I keep saying a hit, it is a hit for the whole stack. And the only thing to pay attention to here is that these hits are going to be apportioned evenly. So, for example, now this first Texas has a no hit. If the stack takes a second O hit, the second O hit has to go to the other unit, and so on and so forth. But man, that's telling me that despite the small size of these maps, despite the small number of units involved in these battles, these are going to go on a while. This is an unusual level of attrition, which is not, I like attrition model. This is more attrition than I would expect for a game of this scope.